Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com. It's Monday, it's April the 21st. This will be our chart lesson for today. And it's really a quite low volume day, not much happening again. There's not a lot of entries today. 5 or 6 entries is about it. And it's not much that you can say other than there's not much volume. And you can see there's not very many bars. I mean, look at the overnight. Of course, the market didn't open till 4 o'clock Sunday afternoon, so there wasn't, but it's still pretty typical overnight. You know, you can see there's just not very many bars compared to what you normally will get during an overnight session because the market opened, let me just put a cross here. Market opened right in here, and so that's all you had for the overnight was maybe 5 or 6 bars on a 2,000 tick chart. So, and people ask me, you know, can we go to a smaller tick chart and try to so you can see? And I don't recommend doing that. I really don't, because when it's low volume like this, you want to be careful about entering. And when you start getting much smaller than this, than 2,000 ticks, you know, you don't get enough movement, and you see the setup, and you get into the trade, and it doesn't go far enough to get your 4 tick scalp. So I just believe you're better off just stick to your 2,000. Pay attention to the fact that there's less bars and less volume, and just kind of go with what you see. That's just my opinion. I don't like to go to a smaller tick chart. And you never know when it's going to start moving. Obviously, it's not going to start today, most likely, because it's a 2:45 as I'm doing this. And you really only had 2 little short trends up and 1 down, and that's it. And so, but let's just talk about the trades. There's not much more to talk about today. Let's show you what I saw, and we'll get through it, and we'll go from there. The first trade I saw was a long off the lows. And this is just a 2-legged move down. You know, he moved up 2 legs down. It's a second entry. It's a nice reversal off those lows from, yesterday, Friday or Thursday afternoon. And so I like that second entry long. And then the prices tried to go lower again and turn back up. And so then you get a second entry long counting off the low. And so this one didn't go anywhere very quickly, but once you had that little trap, it pulled the rest of the people in. But I kind of like this one. I went back and forth whether to make it green. I don't really know I believe this was the trend line, the first couple of bars there using the closes, but if you use that one, you may not have wanted to take either one of those trades, but you still could have taken this one. But I really couldn't make that fit as well. And if you draw this one, uh, right off those first couple of closes. And you really can't make either one of them fit too well, to be honest. Just see by drawing it. I never even tried to draw it off the lows. I just want to see what it looks like if you draw it right off the lows. Let's just come right off of there. See what that looks like. I don't. It's really just hard to say. What I saw here for the most part was just 2 legs down. You're on both sides of the EMA. I mean, there's just not much there to go with. And the other thing I liked, actually, almost forgot to even talk about this, is that you got all those matching lows across there. And so this gives you another reason to think long here. And I almost completely forgot to talk about that one. But you can see those matching lows. For some reason, I can't get that line straight across there. And it's the little failed break lower. So that's like a little failed break out of congestion or out of a trading range. And that generally is going to reverse prices. Plus, it's a second entry long. And there's just a 1 tick higher here, but that's all you really need. First entry, pullback, second entry. And you can see they're pretty much measured legs as well. And that was another thing I liked about it. You can see leg 1 there, and then leg 2. There's maybe a tick or two difference in them, but that's just a two-legged move, and then second entry long, and then a little trap there. I failed second entry long, counting off the lows, and then as we went higher here, I drew this line off the top. I played around with it. Okay, I had an interruption there, and I can't even remember what we were talking about. I know we talked about the little failed break lower, second entry long, and then another attempt to go lower. It fails and goes up, so you get a second entry long off the low, and then another attempt to go lower that comes back and tests the low side of the breakout, but is also a failed second entry short. Notice this first entry short, pull back second entry short. So that's a failed second entry short, chance to go long. And I went back and forth whether or not to make that one green because there's not a lot of room to scalp out before those highs, but there's just enough room to get out there. So I went ahead and left that one blue. Plus, everything's inside that trend line. You know, you got the trend line off the first couple of swings, and that was still inside the trend line. You can see all the closes working up inside that trend line. So I still like that one, and so I left it blue. And then once you got up here, there's a failed second entry short here. Actually, it's really not, but it's two more chances to go short. It's the first break of the trend line. So you could have considered going long on these two, but it's so close to the highs and even the highest point from the previous day, Thursday, that I thought it was getting risky then. I was afraid it was going to turn down and come back down again and just be a trading range, which it did, but it went a little bit higher first. And so I originally had that line right across there, and you can see it was holding price. So I was really hesitant to go long at those highs right there. So I didn't mark any of that. And there's a few dojis in there. So really, I think you ought to have that marked. And you don't really want to go short yet. And I want to talk about that because somebody actually asked me about that. So I'm going to just mark that in there. Kind of violet color that you just want to sit tight right here. And don't be so eager to try to get, especially to try to get short. That's the first close outside that trend line. And so you know you're probably going to push to a new high, or you're going to at least attempt to push to a new high. And so the first chance you really get to go short after that is right here. And again, I think it's too risky to go short right there. I went back and forth. You know, aggressive trader might take that one. I didn't like it, but because everything's still above the EMA, it's really kind of an up-down type bar, so it wouldn't surprise me if it doesn't pull back and test this and turn up, which it pulled up, and I still don't think you want to go long yet, but you got to wait on a second entry for a good short, and that didn't come to right here. That's it went higher first and then turned, so you could have had a stop sitting right there, or you could have waited on this bar and waited on the break and then dropped a limit order, and you could have got filled a couple of ticks back into that bar, and then it turns right back down. And so now you got a failed second entry long. Notice the new high, pull back first entry, pull back second entry. So it's just the reversal. Same three entries is down here really. And you come down here and you make you test that low again, you bounce. And you didn't have a break of this yet, and this is an inside bar, so I didn't like this for a long. And I really wasn't crazy about this one because you got a couple of bars stacked up there. It's the first two swings, so it really just gives you your trend line. Aggressive trader probably would go long there, but you know, I don't think it's a good entry. I think you really need a trap or something, and it never came. You were back up here before it was over. And then you finally get a little trap right here. And of course now this high is way up here. And you try to go, you really got your failed second entry short right here, but I didn't like that one. And when it tried to go short again, then you have somewhat of a trap. It's two tries to go lower right there. But notice, again, you've got all your matching lows across here, and notice that one little tick lower, it turns up. And you're looking for a retest of the highs, so you're looking for prices to probably come up here. And you got enough room to get out for that on this. And then when it bounces again, it turns back down and bounces one more time. Um, I liked it, another chance to get in right there if you wanted to. So um, this one's getting a little closer to the highs, so you got to be careful. You probably want to use a limit order, and so that's what I did when it broke higher. Just try to drop a limit order in there, see if you can get filled, maybe back at the same place you got filled on this one. And it continues to kind of chop on higher. And then after that, it was really obvious. And even these, this one I really was hesitant to mark in blue. This one I wasn't because of the trap. I really thought we'd shoot on up pretty quickly. Of course, that didn't happen. You can see we haven't gone anywhere or done anything. Really, since 10 o'clock this morning, the range has been from 61 and a quarter to 65.50, so 4-point range there. Just not much high, just not any volume or movement today. And so I didn't mark anything after that. I kept watching to see if we'd start trending again, but it just never happened. And but you're still looking for longs here, just like you were here, and you were really still looking for shorts here, and that's the reason I was hesitant. You never really got a short setup because you're so close to the lows, but you're looking for prices to retest this low. Just like here, you were looking for prices to retest this high. And I'm going to put another chart up here that somebody sent me, and basically what they did was, just like me, they probably started with their line right there. And when this broke higher, just one tick above that, they went short right there. But notice there's no break of that little channel there. And no matter how you drew this, there were different, you might have drawn it right off the lows there, but still there's no break yet. And but I kind of used the closes, and now that I've made it a little bigger, this might have been just a tad lower like so. But that's how I had mine drawn, and I really confirmed that off the highs first and then drug it down. And so you didn't get your first close outside till right here, and so you're expecting prices to try to shoot up and test the high. And so that you don't want to go short on a first entry, you got to wait on a second entry. And if you went short right there, you got burned. The only reason this one's is okay on a more aggressive route is you had the break, and notice you got one leg, pull back, second, so you got two equal legs up to a new high. And that fits the rules. So you could go short right there. If you want to be real aggressive, you're better off to wait on the second entry, which came here, and then you got the trap, which is just about the sure thing then, and you know you're headed to the other side. And then right here, I didn't like this short because I didn't like the long because you're still expecting a retest to the low, but you don't really have a good setup here yet either. This is closed with a couple of stems on it, and then the next one couldn't break lower and turn and went higher. And so once it kind of broke higher there, it's like a little trap almost. And on a range day, sometimes that's what happens. You can't make a new extreme, even though you're expecting one. You can't make one because the lows of the overnight, the lows of the range are taking precedence really. And this is just a failed break lower. Notice how there's no closes down there. This is where you'd probably want that, and this was a failed break lower, and then you came back and you tested that too, so that's another reason I kind of like that one. And then you went higher. So, but anyway, the other trader, I talked about this right here, but let me put his chart on. His looks almost identical to mine. I don't see much difference here at all. You can see that that's not a very good signal bar either, but he had the little trap and he went short right there, and he wanted to know why that one failed. But if you draw your trend lines, that was the first break and then the move to a new high. And he had the right idea. He was looking for a trading range. He definitely had a right idea. And another thing too here is what you might have been looking for is that could be your first leg. And then you're going to get a second leg, and that high is like right there. And notice we went a little further than that. But anyway, the trader had the right idea. He was just a little bit earlier. And basically what I told him is just don't be so eager to enter. Wait on, there's always going to be another chance to enter. Just like going long, you had 3 chances to enter here, and each one of these got a little more on your side. And then coming down, you had 3 chances to enter. This one, you didn't have much chance. Sometimes this is what will happen here, and you don't get a chance to enter, but you got another chance to enter here and here. So don't be so eager to enter. Sometimes you'll miss a trade by being a little more conservative like that, but you won't have those losers where you're getting in there a little bit too early or a little bit too late or whatever. Your timing has to be right on these, especially on a slow volume day like this. So, but anyway, that's about it for today. I'm not going to spend any more time on this. It's just a trading range day, and we're trying to break out of the range, but we got 15 minutes left in the trading day. My guess is we're probably going to come back down in here and close down inside. We'll see what happens, but we could break a little higher here. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up for the day. This is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.